Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey My Mother's Son podcast. Today I want to talk a little bit about making adjustments. It's one of the things that I taught religiously when I was coaching baseball, that it was a game of adjustments. You're going to be expecting one thing to happen, something else is going to be thrown at you. And it's one of the lessons that can come from the game that transfers to life. Life's always going to be throwing curves at you, and you have to have the ability to make adjustments. Throughout the summer here, we were traveling throughout Canada and Alaska. I created a backload of podcasts I recorded in April and May to be scheduled to release through August. And my plan at that time was to record podcasts with our group of friends that were traveling throughout Canada and Alaska with us and release them throughout August and September. However, shortly after we started that trip, my computer crashed, which forced me to make an adjustment. Luckily, I was able to get it to a repair shop in Fairbanks, Alaska, to have it up and running for me again. But that wasn't until the middle of August. So I had to make adjustments as to how I was going to create podcasts and release podcasts without the ability to conduct interviews and edit the podcast and some stuff like that. So Sandy does have a computer as well. However, it doesn't have as much memory as what my computer did. She basically just uses it to surf the internet and check stuff out, where I'm editing videos and doing all that sort of stuff on my computer. So I was able to download my editing programs onto her computer and create some small content. Her and I were still able to release our travel podcast that we do monthly. I was able to interview our grandson, Alex, a couple times. The three of us just released a podcast talking about our Alaska and Canada adventures. And I added some monologues in there, which I will continue to do as I get back into the seat of interviewing guests and releasing my quote-unquote normal format podcast as opposed to monologues and that sort of stuff. So, all that was making an adjustment from the computer crashing and what my original plan was to release episodes throughout August and September until I started recording again. I won't actually start recording podcasts again until the end of September, and then start, releasing podcasts with guests throughout October and moving forward. So that's one of the things you always got to be ready for. You can come up with a plan, and that plan doesn't always, come to fruition the way you drew it up. I've quoted Mike Tyson many a times on my podcast where it says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And that's kind of what happened on this trip when the computer crashed, is I kind of got a punch in the face I wasn't expecting, but I was able to kind of make those adjustments and get through it and continue to get podcasts out there on a weekly basis and, make the best of what was a not a great situation. And it's amazing how much you depend on that technology. You don't realize it until all of a sudden it's not there and it's not at your fingertips. Again, we were fortunate to find a computer repair shop in Fairbanks. I was able to actually ship that computer to them ahead of time, so they had enough time to, basically replace the hard drive, because what happened was the hard drive was corrupted. So, we got it to them a couple weeks before we were going to get into Fairbanks, and the day we arrived in Fairbanks, the computer was back up and running, and I was able to, get my programs reinstalled and editing software and all that fun stuff that I use on a regular basis to, edit and release shows that I record. So, it's just one of those things that, like I said, on the field, I'd always talk to my players about, you got to have the ability to make adjustments. Things are not always going to happen the way you expect them to happen, so you got to be able to make adjustments. I also preach that, I use the game of baseball to teach life lessons, and this is one of those times where, that particular life lesson of being able to make adjustments was one that I personally could now put into action in real life as opposed to just on the baseball field. So, I found that interesting that even now that I haven't coached a baseball game and going on 5 years, I can still go back to, some of those lessons that I taught my players and relate them to my own life. So it's one of the things about leadership is that, when you're leading others, there's many times where those leadership skills and life lessons that you're teaching others are going to come back, and you're going to have to put them into action. So you're going to have to practice what you preach, so to speak. And I always find that interesting that life has its way of coming full circle and using those moments to, teach us our own lessons as we're going through this crazy thing called life. So, I just wanted to get on here and share a little bit about how important that is to be able to make adjustments and go with the flow and, figure things out when things don't happen the way you initially think they will. So it's one of those things that you always have to be aware of, that no matter how great a plan you come up with, there's going to be times where you're going to have to pivot from that and make adjustments to that plan and be able to move forward and, not get hung up on, why it didn't go the way it was planned, or, things that, after the fact happened that, you felt shouldn't have happened. You can't dwell on that sort of thing. So you just got to move forward and figure out how you're going to get from point A to point B when something doesn't come together the way you planned that it should. So, I think that's just so important. No matter what line of work you're in, whether it's sports, in the workplace, relationships, you're always going to have that ability to be able to go out and make adjustments when things don't pan out the way you think they should. So, again, one of the life lessons I just wanted to get on here and share, and hopefully, if anybody's going through a period in their life right now where things aren't going the way they think they should be, it's time to, step up and make an adjustment and get things going on the right track again. So, again, just wanted to share that with everybody. Hope everyone out there is having a great day. And as always, be sure to check out my other podcasts and blogs at journeymymotherson.com. While you're there, check out the Pay It Forward program. It's an amazing program where you can buy a book, and Sandy and I will donate it to someone somewhere throughout our travels. So, again, check it out, journeymymotherson.com.